Today's video starts with a little bit of a weather check. Looks like the sun is trying to peek through there, but it won't. We have a goose over there who just crossed the road. I don't know for what reason though. Probably the same reason as the chicken, I would imagine. This has just been a busy weekend. Yesterday was really busy because I had to work in the morning. And then I went to one adventure. It was closed even though Google said it was open. Went to another one, also closed when Google said it was open. So I went to the Walker Art Center, which was my video yesterday. I did one for both channels. They both turned out well. But it was pretty tiring. And then today I had a birthday party to go to, and now it's already 6 p.m. So the day just kind of got away from me here. And so this is going to be a good night, I think, for a Netflix Roulette. I haven't done one of those in a little while, so tonight is the night. Well, hello there, and welcome to another beautiful night for a Netflix Roulette here on Tommy Travels the Second. And tonight's movie was The Silence. It's been a long, busy, loud weekend, and so I thought that sounds like a perfect title to close out this Sunday evening. And so if you are brand new to this channel, go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on a thing, and I'll see you right after this. So just to start off, this is now the second movie that I've seen on Netflix that's kind of based on the same thing. I recently saw a movie called Bird Box with Sandra Bullock, and I didn't do a Netflix Roulette on that movie, but I did see it, and it is based on a mysterious force that's taking over the earth, and if you see it, you automatically kill yourself in whatever the quickest, easiest way possible. If you're on the 10th story of a building, you'll jump out the window. If you're in traffic, you'll step out and run in front of a car. It doesn't matter. And so Sandra Bullock, the point of this movie is for her to manage to get a couple of kids all the way to a faraway sanctuary area that she had heard about. And this movie, The Silence, was, I don't know, could have been written by the same people that did Bird Box, because it's kind of based on the same thing, only it's not a mysterious force, it's a tangible creature. They're called vesps. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the Appalachian Mountains, some explorers found a very, very unexplored cave, and they blasted into a certain area of it, and it let out these creatures called vesps. It's based on the word vespa, which is the Spanish word for wasps, and they're named that because of the way they swarm. Well, these vesps, creatures, they're not just like bats. They're kind of a cross between bats and like gremlins. They're scary dudes. You don't want to get in their way. Except they can't see, they can only hear. So if you make a sound, they will swarm on you and kill you. And there are millions and millions and millions of them flying all around the country and wiping out whole cities by the slightest noise somebody makes. They just come down and attack you. And that is the basis of this movie. This movie centers around a girl who happens to be deaf, which turns out to be quite an advantage in this movie since no one can make a sound, and so she is able to communicate through sign language along with her whole family. It is played by Kiernan Shipka, the character, and she does a very good job. She's been in Mad Men. She's also has appeared in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is a web TV series, and she's been in some other things as well. And I like the dad character as well, played by Stanley Tucci. And if you're not sure who that is, he was in The Hunger Games, and I really like his performance in this movie because the dad in this movie, he is not the coolest guy that you would want to have for a dad in a movie like this. He's not the Tom Cruise character. He's not the Bruce Willis type of a character who's going to charge out there and save the day. No, he's a regular dad. He doesn't have any superpowers, and he's not a... He's a guy that could be an accountant or an engineer or something like that. And he's placed into this situation where he has to step up and be a leader. And so I really liked that they chose him to do this character because he played it well. Rather than if it were Tom Cruise, you'd just expect that, you know, he'd come in and save the day. This guy, he's like, oh, I really like the way he played it. And so it gets some points in that area just because I liked his performance. Stanley Tucci does a great job in this movie. Another thing that this movie does really well is build tension, because everyone has to be really quiet. And you know how when you're trying to be quiet, any tiny little thing you do seems to be loud as heck? You know, like if you have to open up a piece of candy in church, every little fold of the paper is just like... You expect everyone in the church to look at you and shut down. Go ahead, open your candy already, get it over with. Or if you have to sneak around in the house for some reason to not wake somebody up, any little tiny, all of a sudden you step on the floor, creak! You're like, oh, when did that get there? That's what this movie is like. But imagine those situations if those tiny little creaks and crumples caused a huge swarm of bat birds to come down and eat you alive. So that's the kind of tension that is very easy to build in this movie, and it gets you rolling along with it. It's like, oh gosh, what's going to happen here? And without giving away too much of the movie, there are some flaws with this movie as well. And one of them being, they heard this disaster was coming, the news told everyone to stay put in their houses, don't try to travel, and what do you know? They get in their car and they decide to try to leave town. And guess what? It doesn't work. Because that never works in these types of movies. You run into a huge traffic jam and you can't go anywhere. And so they wind up having to go on a little bit of a hike, and what do you know? They mysteriously find a house to use as shelter. And then that is where most of the movie takes place. And that's another flaw with the movie. Most of the movie takes place at this shelter when there's this sanctuary that they find out about down somewhere else, further away. And I wish most of the movie took place of them trying to get to that sanctuary area like they did with Bird Box, because that would have made it more interesting. The direction that they chose to go with the challenges that they ran into with living in this shelter house area didn't work. It was just stupid and unnecessary and dumb, I thought. I didn't like the problem that they encountered while they were there. And I'm not going to say what that was, but you'll see it if you do watch the movie. Hey, did you know that the world used to have something called the dodo bird? We did. You've probably heard of it before, but you haven't seen one in a zoo. You know why? Because they're extinct. And how did they become extinct, you ask? Well, it's commonly believed that Dutch sailors ate them out of existence. Why did they do that? Because they were extremely easy to catch due to their lack of fear of humans. That's a bad thing to have for a bird like that. And these creatures, vesps as they're called in the movie, but gremlins/bats as I like to think of them, have no fear of humans either. And they're blind. And they dive at anything that makes a noise. You can darn well better believe that humans would come up with a way to exploit that and kill those things by the thousands. And there would be a bounty put on their heads as well. If the amount of certain price you get for every single one of them, by the ton, you can make money. You do something like that and put enough money out there and get enough motivated humans to catch these things, you can darn well believe they will be wiped out within a year. Absolutely, no doubt in my mind. But this movie gives you no hope at all for something like that. It's just like, well, this is life now. I don't like that. Humans are not given enough credit in this movie, and it loses points for that too. And don't get me wrong, I did like the movie. It's not like I didn't like it, but there were some serious flaws. I really did like the casting with Stanley Tucci as the father role. Really liked the fact that he was just an ordinary guy. That added a lot to the movie. And this is just the kind of movie where if you want to come home and you're in the mood to watch something a little bit scary and freaky, turn out the lights, click on some Netflix, put it on. It'll entertain you for an hour and a half. As long as it's not one where you really have to think and delve into the depths of it at all. Because there are some flaws like we've already talked about. And because of the fact that it's not real original, it follows the same type of a plot as Bird Box, which was recently out, and the plot lines are a little weak in some areas. This movie gets an overall 6 on a scale of Eat, Pray, Love to 10. And so that's about what you expect from movies sometimes. 6 is above average, but not great. That's where I put this movie. But if you're not caring about all the details and what's what and who's who and all of that, still go ahead and watch it if you want. Well, you guys, this has been another successful Netflix Roulette here on Tommy Travels the Second. And this movie, The Silence, the one that we saw tonight, 6 on a scale of Eat, Pray, Love to 10. And if you guys liked what you saw here tonight, go ahead and hit like on my YouTube channel. While you're at it, go ahead and hit subscribe and a little bell notification next to it so you can be the first to know when a new adventure comes out. Also, I want to let you guys know that I have playlists now on my channel so you can watch it from the beginning. If you only want to watch the adventures that I go on, there's a playlist for that. Movie roulettes, there's one for that. And when I get enough of these, I'll do a Netflix playlist as well for Netflix Roulette. And so, thank you guys so much for the support that you've given me so far. And until next time, I hope to catch you on the flip side.